Yo, yo, Grim here. So I've got a S Force deck profile. Um, yeah, another deck I was kind of like I've had for a while, but I haven't play tested it or tried it yet. Um, so I had a test of it. Generally, quite enjoyed it. Really cool gimmick. There was some stuff I thought you could do with a deck that you couldn't do, but overall, it still kind of functions the same way. It's quite cool. The new Link one they got does help a lot, gives it a bit more like interaction your opponent's turn, whereas beforehand it just didn't really do much in that sense. But yeah, I'll get into it. There are like different variants of S Force. There's some where you use like a scare core package, and some like heavy combo ones, but this is more or less like simple S Force, I guess is the best way to put it. So I run two Platina. Um, you honestly you could potentially cut it down to one, but I run a Pot of Desires in this. So you definitely, in my opinion, need two. It is really good as well, especially with the new Link one. If it's banished, you can get it back from banished and some another banished. So it's overall a really good card. So I think two is really good. There's also another helpful function of it being low 6 dark. Um, Triple Gravitino. So each effective S forces are when a monster is in the same column as another S force monster on your field. Was one of your S force, not another. They basically have like continuous effects. So Platina is each monster loses 600 attack. Then her unsummon effect is to summon one back from the banished. Gravitino's got the best one, which is when the monster leaves the field in the same column as an S force, it gets banished instead. And then when he's summoned, he adds an S force card from your deck to your hand. Um, so he's honestly one of the better ones overall. So his column effect's good, and he is a searcher. So generally speaking, really good. So you want to max out on him. Triple Razor. So Razor, when he's normal special summoned, he then special summons a S Force from your hand in attack mode. He's a lower level one, which is nice. Gets any of them from your hand as well, which is really helpful. An extra body on board will help. At the end of the day, in the concept that like if he got Veiled, you might just pass your turn on him. But if your Rapper got Veiled or your Radioactive got Veiled, it's the exact same outcome, except you're risking it to get that extra body on board, which will in the long run help you disturb your opponent's turn a lot better. So I do think three of him is important. I do want Part Desires, so a lot of these ratios help towards that as well. The other effect of him is S forces in a column. Monsters can't be used for link threes or highs. So it's like an okay effect. If you against like a link deck that wants to get like a big link monster, might be pretty good. Triple Rapper. Again, Rapper is one of your better ones. So each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as your S Force monsters can only attack the monster in the same column. Uh, has like a tag out effect, so banishes an S Force from your hand as cost. This is a quick effect. It returns itself to the hand, and if you do, you special an S Force from your deck in defense mode. I thought there was like a cool gimmick you could do with the Link one and this, but I misread the Link one and it says then, not also. So you still have to at least return a card to hand with the return a card to deck, sorry, with the Link one to summon one from banished. So I was doing it so the Link one would target this, you'd chain this to tag out, and then you'd summon one from your banished and summon one from your deck. But it doesn't work like that. Both of these you have to get their first part of their effect off to get the second part. But you definitely need three of this. She's like one of your main ones for sure. And then I run two retroactive. Oof, gone proper blurry there. Um, two retroactive. So yeah, like you could run him at one, you could run him at three. Honestly, he's quite handy. I like him at two. He's not a card I see in my hand often. I'm like, oh, he really helps. But his niche in effect, just having that extra one can help out. So you can use him in your hand as material for link summon of S Force, but he has to also be used with other monsters. So it can't just be like this in your hand only for the link 1. You have to use them for the link 3. And then use a quick effect on the main phase to return to hand, special level 2 or higher S Force from your hand. So the effect in grave is you banish them from your grave instead of banishing a card to activate one. So he's got like quite a lot of effects, but overall he doesn't actually do that much impactful things. And then one of Lapswell, like really good card. You only need one of them though. One Aura Fist, and one Dog Tag. All really good one-offs, my opinion. Lapswell I think is really key. You have to run him. He reborns stuff from grave. During your turn, he banishes one from grave and destroys all monsters in the same columns and S forces. But the effect of reborn from grave is the main one you want to do. Orpheus doesn't come up that often. Mainly his effect to pop something when a card or effect is activated. He chains onto it and pops it. But it's just handy to have. And then dog tag's really good. The fact to get that extra body on your board in your opponent's turn, and his effect in your turn is actually really good. Like, your opponent can't actually mod effects in the same column as your S forces in your turn only. Is crazy. When I first read it, I thought it was your opponent's turn, and I was like, he's the best one. But it wasn't. It was in your turn only. So I was like, oh, he's still a good one, but he's not. He's not fantastic. But no, he's still good. And then that's the S Force monsters. Outside of them, I run triple parallel. Just kind of standard in my opinion. It's a link one you get with a down arrow. Some Goose off this. Do more link plays if you want. What's kind of cool with this deck is they are different types. You could main deck. There can only be one. I don't main deck it. I side deck it. You could use what's it called? Update Jam if you wanted to. There are some other Cybursts in here. But like overall, I mainly use this going to like Tornado or Baguska or to Link Climb. But yeah, 3 of this is fantastic card, really good. And then I use triple Dimension Shifter. So it's a banished deck. You really do rotate around your banished pile. This will hurt a lot of decks as well. So there's real no reason. It's just such a good card. If there's a deck that can main deck it, you usually do want to main deck it. Especially because Tears being played a lot more lately. Triple Ash Blossom, kind of standard. So that's the monsters. For spells, I run triple Bridgehead. It just searches your monsters. Has like an extra effect based on like when a monster declares an attack in the same column as your S Force, you can stop your S Force from dying that battle. So it's kind of like a niche effect that people don't read it. S Force is very much a grinding deck. So like you can win if your opponent doesn't read that and they swing over the dog tag in the same column and you keep the dog tag alive. And then it goes to your turn and they didn't even really read dog tag. And they've got like a Baron in dog tag's column. And they've got like something else in another S Force column. They think they've got interruption for your turn, but they just don't because them 2 are there. So it's really nice. I run 2 D Fissure. So I don't want to run 1 of it or 3 of it. I think 1's just kind of like no point. 3 of it's too much as well. You really just don't want to see multiples of this in your hand. But 2 is a really nice ratio. I like D Fissure in the sense that it helps me with hand traps. You can't Veil under, you can't Ghost Ogre under, you can't draw on Lockbird under it. Loads of hand traps you can't do under it. You can't D-shift under it as well. Like, that's irrelevant though. But generally speaking, it's really nice. The whole deck again banishes. I don't use Macrocosmos. I might consider side deck and macro instead, but overall this kind of does the same thing. So you might as well just run this, and it's pretty decent going second sometimes as well. Then 2 Pot of Desires. Again, there's just no reason not to. It's either this or Extravagance. You can run triple Extravagance, but I like having the extra deck ratios. Whereas if you run Extravagance, you have to start running like multiples of everything to make sure you don't banish them and lose the game. Whereas with this, it's like banishing 10 cards from your deck doesn't affect you that much. If you're unfortunate, you hit all 3 of a copy. But a lot of times this deck can play fairly decent without some copies of cards. So I think Desires is really good. Then 1 Oaths, 1 Gold Sock, 1 Rotor, One Terraforming. Gold Sock's really good in the deck. Kind of like Searches in the sense, because Nightingale can just summon something from your banished. So it's basically like a Search as any S Force. Search as Rapper and Radioactive. Search as your feels rather than search as anything. Then for traps, 2 Chase. This is like your best card. So I only want 2 because, well, first off, I only have 2. But I couldn't figure out what I wanted to take out for the third. It is searchable. Hard drawn, it can be pretty nice as well. But basically what this does, it targets face or cards your opponent controls with the number of S Force monsters you control with different names and returns them to your hand, returns them to the hand. And then it's got the same effect as Radioactive and Grave to banish it instead of getting banishing one from your hand. So what's cool with this is you can have this set with like an S Force and Nightingale. And if you've played your stuff right, you can end up getting like 4 S Forces on your field during your opponent's turn, which then leads to the fact of this bouncing 4 cards back to the hand. But if you've got like Gravitino, for example, on the field, and then all your S Forces are pointing to, let's say, 4 monsters, those 4 monsters have left the field in the same column as S Forces, so they will get banished and not returned back to hand. It's quite like a cool thing, but this is like your main piece of interruption. And then triple Imperm, because it's Imperm. Imperm is such a good card. Again, it's like flex spots with those. You could run Imperms, you could run Trolls, you could take the Shifters out. But yeah, overall that's the ratios I run for the main deck. So for X deck, I run 1 Justify. You don't need more than 1. You rarely even get the 1 out, honestly. It's just like, he's a good card, it's just not that crazy impactful. Not that crazy. So just one of them's nice, like that boss monster to occasionally get out. Triple Night Chasing. Keep calling it Night Gale. Night Chase is like one of your main ones. It's a link 1. Summons from your banished pile. There's a column effect, which is each of your opponent's monsters in the same column of your S Force monsters cannot target monsters in the same column for attacks. I'm not sure if that with like Rapper then causes a lock, where it's like you can't attack at all or you have to attack directly. But you definitely need 3 of this. You go into that quite a lot. Then you run 1 Ball Sword, helps you with OTKing. Definitely like needed in the deck in my opinion. 1 access code, this comes up quite a fair bit as well. I'm trying this with like my torch on my phone to see if it's like any better. I think it shows the images a bit better of the cards, but then it does blur occasionally. But we'll see how this works. So 1 access code, just a fantastic card, wins games. 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix. I want IP in this. I don't have SP. SP just came out, Little Knight. It's a fantastic card. I would probably put this in here. I do run 1 Zeus. I'd honestly consider taking the Zeus out, just because my XE targets are really small. I'd probably take Zeus out for Little Knight. But for now, I don't have Little Knight, so I'd still run these though. So 1 Unicorn and 1 Phoenix, just good removal. The 1 Dark helps you like climb into your bigger links if you go against someone with a Dark deck. 1 IP, again, same thing with SP. Little Knight, she could get into your SP, she can get into a lot of your stuff. Just a really good card. Deck link summons quite a fair bit. 1 Link Rebo, again, they have your cyber stuff. Getting that 1 trap with this is like handy. There's been a lot of times I forget to summon it, and like 1 trap card's just lost me the game. And I'm like, great, I could have stopped it if I just summoned Garibo. And then yes, the 1 Zeus, which could be taken out for an SP Little Knight, or anything else you kind of fancy. 1 Tornado, great removal. And the 1 Baguska, a fantastic card. Baguska is such a good card, just wins some games, honestly. Like, if your hand's not looking too great, you can just kind of sit on Baguska and play your Link monsters. It's such a good card. And then I run one Chaos Angel. Quite easy to get out, honestly. So, example is like Platina is a level 6 Dark, and Orphis is a level 4 Light. So that's instantly there, like, oh, you can summon that. This is a level 6 Light. These are all level 4 Darks, which again is then another one. Technically speaking, you could use Gravitino and Dog Tag, or two Gravitinos, just as lights only. Yeah, this is like a solid card, honestly. It's just kind of free to summon. But yeah, pretty much that's the build that I've been using. It's pretty nice. I like it. There are definitely different things you can run and play test with it, but I've enjoyed this variant for now. I think the next deck I'm working on is might be Amazement. I think it's Amazement, yeah. So yeah, I'll probably upload Amazement next. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoy. You got any suggestions, stuff for these? Because I'll probably keep S Force around in like a box even after I've stopped playing them, just because they're kind of like a cool archetype for me. Yeah, feel free to tell me any cool things you know about the deck. Bye.